to BWTM Sports. Short video here, middle of doing some work, but this particular article popped up in my face, so I thought I would do a very quick video about this. Dereck Chisora, as I said, is going to be facing David Price as Chisora's opponent pulled out, which was Joseph Peter Parker, bitten by spider, has pulled out of his fight. So David Price, good old David, has popped in. I have to call him David Undercard Price, has popped in now and filled the slot, which is nice. A fight that I think should have been top, could have been top of the bill. Maybe not with Taylor and Progress, but I think in its own right is a top of the bill fight. Well, would have been. But anyway, so Dereck Chisora has decided now. He's decided that he's going to train himself for the David Price fight, and then he's going to corner himself as well. Hey Eve, good to see you. Hope that you're well. He's going to train himself and then corner himself against David Price. And when I first heard it, I thought, well, I mean, Derek's crazy enough to do something like that. And if he's trying to save a few shilling, then yeah. And he's probably thinking to himself, you know what? What is any trainer going to give me between now and the time I fight David Price? Let's be honest. Well, let's be honest. How you doing, everybody? Let's be honest. What am I going to learn? Who's going to teach me anything? I'm just thinking in the mind of Dereck Chisora. I'm not thinking logically. I'm thinking Dereck Chisora. Who's going to train me between now and the fight time of Price? I mean, come on, it's David Price. I beat David Price. I don't need no trainer to beat David Price. I mean, that's probably the mindset going through. I just need to walk in there and hit David Price in the chin. I'll knock him out, and that's that. I might dust him over in a couple of rounds. Let's be honest. Once I hit him with one right hand, fight's over. Yep. And I don't need no trainer. And I don't need no damn corner man telling me how to fight David Price. If I don't need, I don't need a corner man. I certainly don't need a trainer. So, man, I'm just gonna get in there and do the business. So that mentality in itself is crazy, because you're going against one of the hardest punchers in heavyweight boxing. Like, you know, Price ain't gonna run from no one. Quite literally, when he fights, he don't run from no one. He just stands in front of there and lands his punches. He don't run anywhere. So that's the problem. Price don't get on his toes and move around the ring. Price the kind of man is standing there and drop his left hand in front of you, and you can wallop him over the top of a right hand. So when Price hits you with a right hand, 9 times out of 10 he's going to follow him right through the right hand, which is dangerous. So when I think about this fight, I mean, I said before, what sort of Dereck Chisora are you going to get? And if it's one of them Dereck Chisora just comes rolling out of bed and rolls to the arena, and a lackluster Dereck Chisora, I mean, what is the motivation for it? Dereck Chisora needs someone to get him angry, someone to put the fear of God in him, someone that, um, you know, what's his sudden beef with David Price? Where's his beef with Price? Do you know what I mean? At least with um, Parker, you had an angle. Well, you came to London, or you came to the UK the first time. You stunk out the joint when you fought Hughie Fury. Then you came back again. You stunk out the joint when you fought Anthony Joshua. And then you came back again and you stunk out the joint again with Dillian White. Your man don't want to fight. So Dereck there was talking about how he's going to take the man's soul and all that stuff. So Dereck had some sort of script to go by with that. But with David Price, what's the script going to be? Oh, you've been knocked out before. Yeah, we know that. So what's the script? And where's the sudden beef going to come between Dereck Chisora and David Price? There is no beef. There's no beef. There's no, you know, issues. Do you know what I mean? There's no sort of like, there's no, you know, there's no issues with that. So there's no issues with that whatsoever. So I don't quite understand how, you know, he, I don't understand motivates himself for this fight. So for me, it gives Derek David Price a plus, an absolute plus. I hope he doesn't go and make the same mistakes that Dave Allen thought he could do, just roll in there and throw a right hand over the top and hope he'll beat David Price. You've got to remember the people that threw the right hand over the top, by and large, are pretty skilled. Povetkin didn't just come in and throw a right hand over the top. I will be. Give me a chance and let me get through this video first. But yeah, um, he he would be foolish to think he'd just come in and chuck a right hand over the top. And he'd be very foolish to think that David Price hasn't got the power to knock him out. Very, very foolish. So to me, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Derek, I saw training with Bryant Jennings. And Bryant Jennings is the man who's about his business. And he's in London at the moment. So he's training in London and he's working with Dereck Chisora. I don't know. Derek's always talked about, you know, trying to get as much money in boxing as possible, you know. And would he cut corners? Yeah, I can see him cut corners. I told you about the Dave Colwell situation. I told you him and Dave Colwell would not last. Nothing against Dave Colwell. He just Dereck Chisora is a law unto his own self. There is nothing that Dave Colwell would have given to Dereck Chisora that Don Charles would not have given him, because Don Charles has trained with Derek for so long and knows Derek inside out. This is a guy that's taken Derek from absolutely having no belts to being European champion. All right. So Don Charles knows Derek better than any other trainer you're going to bring from Great Britain or America. All right. So, and there's really the beginning and the end. Yeah, he's saying he's going to train himself and he's going to corner himself. So there in itself is the beginning and the end right there. So these other people come and say, I'm going to train Dereck Chisora. You ain't training Dereck Chisora. You are not training Dereck Chisora. Understand this. Get your ego out of the way. You are not training Dereck Chisora. Dereck Chisora is a law unto himself, and he may listen to you. Um, he may listen to what you have to offer if he respects you. If he gets out of the bed on the right side of the bed and he wants to listen to you. Otherwise, Derek is a law unto his own self, right? And any trainer that wants to train Dereck Chisora needs to be aware that he'll do his own thing when he wants to, right? So that's just the short end of it. Dereck Chisora to me hasn't improved as a fighter through all these years. There was a time Don Charles had him in a nice little run where he went through to become European champion. That was a nice run with Derek. He'd lost the weight and it was a nice little run. His punch resistance was questionable then. You can remember every time somebody would tag him after he got knocked out by David Haye. Every time somebody tagged him with a right hand, he would do a little dance, or suddenly step back up to the ropes. And if you watch Derek in most of his fights, they talk about him being durable. But if you look at him in the first couple of rounds in his fights, Dillian White stung him in the first round. Um, who else stung him in the first round? Helenius stung him in the first round. Parler stung him. A lot of guys stung him, but none of the guys that stung him are going to hit him as hard as what David Price will hit him with. What has David Haye done? Well, David Haye has talked Derek up in it. When David Haye was talking, I told you, I said to you when David was talking all that mess about, I went in the gym and I saw Derek. It was like magic. He was hitting harder than ever. He was punching harder than ever. And he was doing things I'd never seen him do before. Oh, you're going to see a better Chisora, a war Chisora. So, David Haye is the master of making you believe that turd is gold. David Haye could tell you turd is gold. I'm not telling you Dereck Chisora's turd for 1 second. Please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. But David Haye could turn water into wine. David Hayes got that sort of. He's such a charismatic character. He can talk, and he's so articulate when he talks. He can make you believe that Santa Claus is going to come in the middle of the summer, and he's going to give gifts to everybody on the Brighton beach, and everyone should come down to Brighton. And you'd believe David Haye because he is so. How David Haye is not a politician, I don't know. But the minute David Haye got involved with Dereck Chisora, you knew it was going to be just pure spin doctor, and War Chisora. All this time before Dereck Chisora be fighting, you never heard about no War Chisora. Suddenly he gets with David Hay, War Chisora. You should be a politician. Do you know what I mean? So now he couldn't stay with Don Charles. He disrespected Charles, didn't he? I think he punched Charles, didn't he? Sorry, Eve. I'm sorry about it, Eve. I'm sorry that I'm saying such things about. Look, I like David. I like David a lot. I remember when David was fighting Dereck Chisora, and I was in the house. People in the house, I just turn the volume down and tell everyone, shh, the president is talking. You know. But anyway, that's when David A used to talk and used to be for his fights, and I find him quite hilarious. And some of the things David came out with, unbelievably, some of the things David Hay came up with, then I never thought that he'd get away with it, but he has done. Both Hay and Chisora have punched Don Charles in, yes. But I think this incident with Don Charles happened a long time ago, where I think he hit Charles or something like that. Or they had a squabble. It was pretty disrespectful to Charles. That's what I think I remember happening along the lines. I think this was even maybe coming up into the David Hay fight. But even if you go back to the David Hay fight, I know because very close to Don Charles going into that camp, and Eve, you would be testament to that and witness to that. Where I remember that's where I first met Eve actually, where I was in the car with Don Charles as we drove to Blue Water, and Dereck was doing his open workout at Blue Water Shopping Centre. That's where I saw you, Eve. Remember? So yeah, that's how close I was to the camp. And they had a strategy to hit David Hay and how to hurt David Hay. But Dereck didn't stick to no game plan. And if you look at the end of the fight, how Dereck got knocked out was by him losing concentration, blowing himself out because of missing with big wild punches, getting frustrated and getting knocked out. And the same thing he did there is what? How many years later on? He got knocked out the same way by Dillian White, throwing wild punches, getting frustrated, missing with punches and getting knocked out. Oh yes, we met in Kent at the open workout. We did. So yeah, they split originally. I think they split after the David Hay fight. It might have been because it's around that time. Unfortunately, I did an interview with Don Charles. He wasn't particularly pleased with it. That was when I said to him, "Well, Derek's leaving you now," and he kind of took offence to the fact that I said to him, "Well, now that Derek's going, what are you going to do? Because he was your prize fighter. He was your main prize fighter." And I wasn't being cheeky. I was actually asking a question out of genuine concern. What's going to happen with him and Dereck and why the relationship broke up. But he didn't kind of like it. He kind of got upset about it, and it's a shame. But and I did meet him and I did talk to him about it. But things happen in life, and you talk to people, and some people can get over it, and you can build and be stronger, and other people, well, they have their own decisions and they make their own decisions and they make their own pathway. So that's what it is. It's a shame. I've still got a lot of respect for Don Charles. I think Don Charles is, you know, he hasn't had he hasn't had the cream of the crop fighters. He's always had fighters that have been either beaten or knocked out, or he's kind of what I would call the Virgil Hunter of the UK. Of the UK, Virgil Hunter in America looks after predominantly the fighters that I get beat up and knocked out, and he kind of looks after them afterwards. I mean, look what people saying. Hold on a second, live chat, all chats are visible, right? He said, Ben says he had bad luck around then. Trained Ali Adams, who took PEDs and got KO by Audley. Yes, the Ali Adams story. That was one of, I would call that a Bayloric TV classic. That was over 3 nights. That was. There was the interview with Don Charles, the interview with Ali Adams, and the interview with Steve Goodwin. Let me tell you, that is, if you talk about Bayloric TV and anybody who tunes that, that was Bayloric TV gold. Absolute gold. Yeah, it's a shame, but Derek's a man of his own who makes his own decisions. So ultimately, I don't again, but I don't know if you can believe Derek because he's with David Hay, and with David Hay, David will tell you one thing and he'll be doing something totally different. So I wouldn't put it past me if David Hay was training Dereck Chisora. It really wouldn't. It wouldn't. That wouldn't shock me. Just imagine it now. Dereck Chisora training on the top table, no trainer for the press conference, and then what Derek could do. What Derek could do is have Dereck Chisora fighter and then Dereck Chisora trainer. And so when they do the press conference, Dereck Chisora can sit and do the interview. If he, on the top table, he could do the interview as the trainer, and then he could do the interviews himself. That'd be quite funny, actually. I wouldn't put it past Dereck to do something like that. And then he'll have to give himself when he goes back to the corner every round. He'll have to give himself instructions as well. He'd have to have somebody in the corner. He'll have to give. He'll have to have someone in the corner with him, even if it's just throwing water over him and a spit bucket. You know, um, I know that Chris Eubank Jr. once talked about training himself, and yeah, what happened to Chris Eubank Jr. anyway? Wasn't he meant to be fighting John Ryder? And then now John Ryder's fighting Callum Smith. What? Okay, anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, but anyway, Dereck Chisora is training himself, and you've got to give Derek David Price. Um, I mean, I mean, I was slightly favouring Price, but now I'm favouring Price even more now. If that's the case, I don't think David Price needs to focus on what Dereck Chisora's doing and the antics of Dereck Chisora. He needs to focus on getting in there and hitting Chisora as hard as he can, as early as he can, getting Chisora to do that funny dance against the ropes, and then just put it on, piling it on Derek. So, yeah, I'm looking to see another performance from David Price to build upon that performance against Dave Allen, because I could see improvements from David Price there. I really did like what I was seeing from Price, but Derek's a step up. Yeah, I haven't heard anything from Eubanks. It's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting, very very interesting. So yeah, um, okay. So I'm gonna end this video here, and when I come back, I'm gonna do a short little video on Mr. Tyson Fury. All right, I'll see you in a moment.